What makes the buffalo in Ronald Lake so unique is the fact that they are not an introduced herd. By the late 1800s, it was clear that wood and plains bison had nearly been wiped out in Alberta and across North America. Early efforts to repopulate wood bison in northern Alberta were, at best, ineffective. Yet by some miracle, a small group of buffalo located in a remote area of northeast Alberta represent an amazing survival story. It wasn't until much later that Western civilization knew of the bison's existence as a standalone herd. Yet that was not the only surprise to come from this discovery.
The Ronald Lake herd is somewhat distinct from bison surrounding it, and notably it's distinct from bison in Wood Buffalo National Park. And that makes that, coupled with the fact that we don't see any interaction between animals from Ronald Lake and Wood Buffalo, the fact that Ronald Lake is still disease-free would tell us that it is somewhat isolated, and that and it is distinct, and that I think it provides further support to the notion that these animals have been there.
The Ronald Lake Bison herd is so critical that a special management board was established back in 2019.
Our group is great, so I think this is going quite well. We're starting to get momentum now, and actually, we got some terms of reference completed, so now we're going to be working on the actual management plan with the, and I love that there's such a diverse group. We have different organizations, we have Indigenous partners, we're getting some subcommittees involved now, so we're really taking charge in protecting the Ronald Lake Bison herd.
So the board has a really clear mandate, Mike. It's to advise the Minister of Environment and Protected Areas on matters related to the long-term sustainability of the Ronald Lake Bison herd, but also the sustainability of traditional use and Indigenous cultural connection to the herd.
Given wood bison's cultural significance to First Nations, having an Indigenous voice at the table is crucial.
I do think that. I think that we're impactful by the things that we say. It may not be in the scientific line of thinking, but it will reach their hearts and change them that way, right?
Indeed, weaving Indigenous knowledge of the wood bison with Western science is one of the cornerstones of the board.
So if somebody is open, and I think people are starting to open up about our holistic ways and trying to work together. So there's no right way for us to do it. We just have to do it. So the Indigenous folks have to, respect the Western sciences approach and what they've been taught, and vice versa. So they have to respect the Indigenous ways and the way we were taught how to read and monitor and live on the land, right, amongst all of the animals and the plants and stuff. So I think that it's important, and we could work together to get to the end goal, which is, helping save those buffalo.
Recently, the board just celebrated its second anniversary, a significant event, as this board represents for the first time a cooperative management approach which has been established for dealing with a wildlife population.
It's a really significant opportunity for collaboration with Indigenous communities, and I think a reconciliation opportunity as well to really acknowledge the deep history of Indigenous people in this landscape with this species and with the needs of this species. So I'm optimistic about the conservation outcome opportunity, but also about what it might mean for our current paradigm as we move into the future.
So the Ronald Lake area where these wood bison are living is only about 200 square kilometers. It's a bit of a mystery as to why they've remained there for so long. Some speculate that it could be because of habitat. A better understanding may come from combining Indigenous knowledge and Western science.
Indigenous knowledge is critical for managing the Ronald Lake herd. We've only collected Western science on the herd since I think about 2013. So we have 10 years of Western science on the Ronald Lake herd. There's hundreds of, not thousands of years of Indigenous knowledge on the Ronald Lake herd. That knowledge needs to inform both the identification of critical habitat and management of the herd going forward.
The connection between Indigenous people and the wood bison is culturally significant. Historically, the animals have provided food and clothing as every part of the buffalo was utilized.
So it was quite easy to let people know. So we knew that, we have our Indigenous rights, our treaty rights, Section 35 rights, to go out and harvest the buffalo if we needed. I can only speak for Athabasca Point First Nation. So we went and told our members, we need to stop harvesting. But they already knew. So they already knew because it's a part of our Indigenous ways. So when a population is low, they stop harvesting. They take a break until the cycle kind of continues, and then those populations go.
While there are elements that can be controlled or at least influenced by the management team, there remains a severe threat: disease. Given that the herd is roughly 30 to 40 kilometers from Wood Buffalo National Park, where bovine tuberculosis and brucellosis are present, it is somewhat of a miracle the Ronald Lake herd has not been infected.
And whether that has to do with the types of habitats that are between those two herds, that might be something. It's just not really hospitable habitat for bison to move in between. It may have something to do with the population size. If we had a huge growth, if there was 1,000 animals in the Ronald Lake herd, we would expect that herd's distribution to expand. But it's kind of a mystery as to why exactly the animals in Wood Buffalo National Park and the Ronald Lake herd have remained separate all this time.
Several questions remain to be answered, especially surrounding the spread of disease. But that will be a topic for another day. What I do know is the fact the board members are absolutely committed. No, I would change that. I would say they're determined to ensure that this Ronald Lake herd continues to prosper. Till next time, I'm Michael Short. Come on, let's go outdoors.